Hi! I made this, threw it at my friend, and said turn this into a drawing so we can see who makes it better. Then, while she ran away terrified to go work on it, I procrastinated for over 2 weeks. But after that, I got hard to work. Pause. See, before starting this channel, the most complex thing I'd done in Blender since 2022 was just stuffing my friends through a trash compactor just to see what would come out the other side. The results varied. But I wanted to get back into the swing of things, so I asked my friend Tiocheli, who has been drawing since she was just a wee lass and has done all kinds of 2D art commissions over the years, to take this rough 3D block out of a room and draw over it so we could compare how we each interpreted the shapes in it. The rules for the challenge are simple. We can add anything we want to the room and manipulate what's already there, but we cannot move any of the objects or take them out of the scene. And just to clarify, I did in fact model this block out, which might seem like an unfair advantage, but one, I was just placing random shapes everywhere without any consideration for what they might be in the final piece, and two, I wasn't, like, testing her or anything. It was a fun collaboration idea. Sue me. Not really, though, I don't actually have any money. Anyway, my idea for the room was to basically make it this sort of cozy indoor pool type vibe. And speaking of pools, I initially thought I'd tackle this by just diving right in. You ever dive into a pool without looking where you're jumping? I wouldn't recommend it. See, I encountered my first big problem during the project while I went about trying to get all these different parts of the scene to look roughly like how I'd pictured them in my head. That problem being that I had no picture in my head. Well, that, and the fact that basically all of my 3D modeling skill and know-how and instinct and problem-solving ability just disappeared over the past few years. Naturally, I had a little crash out for, let me see, another 2 weeks? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my... I decided to take it slow and be responsible. I took some time to look for references and I just stuck them all on this PureRef board. I also spent some time brushing up on the 3D workflow, including this awesome 2-part video on shader nodes by Brandon3D, which I'll link in the description below. Armed with a mood board and just enough shading know-how to make me feel like a god, I hopped back in. I turned this Taurus into a Lifebuoy. I couldn't figure out how to segment the colors with shader nodes, so you know what I did? That's right, I hard selected the faces and gave them all individual materials, because if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. I followed a tutorial by Kaizen on making a procedural tile texture, it's in the description below, and stuck that on the walls. Then I fixed this wall over on the left by deleting it entirely, copying the other wall and sticking that in its place, because I've heard that if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. I made some tweaks to the water object, particularly adjusting the IOR to make it actually look like water. For my non-3D artist friends, who are probably the only people watching this, IOR stands for Index of Refraction. It's basically a number that does some cool mathematical stuff that I do not understand to change the way that light refracts through transparent materials. It's also what makes glass look different from water or plastic, for example. After making those adjustments to the water, I came over to this sphere. See, before my crash out, I was trying to figure out how I could use shader nodes to make the sphere look like a traditional beach ball. It didn't go well. This time around, I added a Gabor node, I added this node and messed around with it until it was close enough to the look I wanted. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out quite like I wanted it to, but it did look like a design that you might find on a funky little beach ball, so I decided to call it a win. Something you'll notice if you happen to be both a Blender user and also freakishly keen-eyed is that I have avoided doing any UV unwrapping. This is because I hate it. UV unwrapping, he stinks and I don't like him. I point this out simply to say that I am so glad that I was able to mostly get away with either basic cube projections or shader setups that worked with the object texture coordinate rather than the UV one. Hell, even I'm not UV unwrapped. From here forward, I wanted to start playing with the lighting in the scene instead of just having non-diegetic lamps scattered around. I added a sort of neon-style strip light around this weird wall plane thingy, which I think added a lot into the scene. I also added a neon strip inside the pool. Around this point, I was also messing around with the texture I was using for the floor. While doing so, I accidentally stumbled onto this cool effect when I plugged a Voronoi texture into the roughness socket of the material. It kinda looked like water that was splashed around on the ground. I didn't end up keeping it, but I just wanted to point it out because I think it's neat to see what cool effects you stumble upon when you're just trying random stuff. Adding some more detail to the scene, I created these basic taps for the sink, this groove in the side of the basin which was meant to look like a door. I messed around with some of the neon lighting in the room, as well as importing these towel objects from another project I'm working on. I used a bit of proportional editing so they wouldn't look exactly the same as one another, and then I also went into the global lighting settings and darkened everything so I could give the render more of that cozy nighttime feel that I was going for originally. I also had the idea to add a little smartphone to this bench that could light up the right-hand side of the scene, and I thought that was pretty cool. Now, this wall plane thing, I originally thought it would be kind of cool to turn it into some kind of LED sign, potentially even an animated one. I saw a tutorial ages ago, back when Blender first introduced geometry nodes about doing this exact thing, but in full honesty, it felt out of the scope of my ability at the moment, and I felt that I'd referenced enough tutorials already for the project, so I opted to make it into a mirror. I added this black frame, copied over the chrome material from the sink but made it notably less rough, and angled it down just a bit, lest you see any of the infinite dark abyss that surrounds the structure, breaking the illusion that this is anything more than a simulation, a fractured deception that might cause you to question your very own reality. Or like, make the render look a little bit weird. Jumping over to the bench,
I was over on the bench!
I opted to reuse the tile material for both it and the floor. At some point while I was tweaking the settings so it would look a bit more like wood, I maybe kinda sorta accidentally broke the reflection settings for the entire material, and the walls stopped reflecting light. Oops. I wasn't sure exactly what to do with these shelf platform kind of things over on the wall, but I decided to go for a sort of marble floating shelf look with some plants for decoration. The texture did wind up looking more like granite than marble, but I was still pretty satisfied with it, at least for this project. Then, after working out why the Archimesh add-on that Blender comes pre-installed with just disappeared at some point over the past 3 years, I used it to add a door to the scene with the most absolute, bare-bones, simple textures that you've ever seen. I admit this was super lazy, but I had exactly zero motivation to model a door, so if I didn't do this, there wasn't going to be one. We're finally in the home stretch now, guys. I used the polygon add-on to import some plants into the scene. For some reason when I tried to move them, they just kind of ruined everything. If anybody knows why this happened, please let me know, but in the meantime, I just duplicated the objects and deleted the originals. Then, after placing the plants where I actually thought they looked nice, I added another phone with some nice green lighting to complement them. And with that, the project was complete. I exported my final renders, then jumped on a Discord call with Fiona so we could show each other our art. Let me move this bowl somewhere so it's not clinking while we record.
Yeah, what are you doing taking bites? Well, at least I think I'd have to draw you taking a bite of cake.
I'm just trying to give you more work to do.
Yeah, basically. That's what's happening.
So I have prepared 3 renders. 3 and a bit, actually, now that I think about it. I'll pull up the bit separately in a minute. So, I'm just gonna start off with, this is like the render the way I intended, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm nervous.
Yep. I'm very nervous. Oh! Oh! Oh, I was kind of thinking something like that.
So,
wait,
similar wavelength?
It's yeah, like, okay, this is really good. This is really good, because I was on the wavelength. That's so nice. I love how it's a proper mirror. The reflection, dang.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, the light and stuff is so good.
I know.
The lighting.
I was so happy with the lighting because what I was trying to do, so in Blender, the world light affects the scene, right? But I wanted it to be like dark because I wanted it to be like a nighttime scene, but that means the scene wasn't lit. So I had to like go and put my own lights in there.
That looks so sick. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh my god.
So you'll see we've got some stuff like the phones. Oh, we got the phones providing some light down by the plants and on the bench.
Yep.
I really wanted to go for this like indoor pool, cozy kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Which I think I pulled off reasonably well. It's originally like I initially really liked it, and then I looked at the render a lot, and then I hated it. You know when you do that to your own work, like you're like, oh wow, this is great. I want to look at it for so long, and then you do that, and then
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
I changed my 6 times.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so good, dude.
And then I also decided to do a daytime render, which is this one, which I think is also really nice.
So cute. It's such a different vibe though altogether. Like it's so different.
I know, right? Like it completely changes the vibe.
Yeah, wow.
Which I think is also really cool. And then the third one is still this, but I just decided to make it a bit more like a sauna.
I can't wait to see one. That's crazy.
I'm so excited to see yours.
That is so good, dude.
Yeah, so I just added in a little bit of a volumetric fog shader, and I turned up the roughness on the mirror so that it would be like like when your mirror fogs up. You know,
Yeah.
I think that really does the trick really well. Just to
That's
zoom
so
in a
sick.
bit.
That is so sick.
Yeah, and then if you give me one moment, I have one more thing to show up. Okay, so this is the last thing that I want to show you.
So cute.
I just thought it would be really cool to take advantage of the fact that, like, you know, I'm doing this in a 3D space so I can make this sort of animation.
Ouch.
It's 2D versus 3D for a reason.
That's pretty true. And you got different renders as well. If I
Yeah.
could animate the things in my scene, you would die.
I'd be screwed. In fact, I feel like I'm
No,
secretly already screwed. I'm like so scared.
No. I mean, you'd die in the sense where like you'd be like, oh my god, that's so cute.
I would die
I just-
regardless. I would die in this fight, and I would die of cuteness.
Yeah, no, that's so sick. That is so sick. I like the night version more though, because you can see the lights behind and like the
Yeah.
colors and stuff will work together. I love purple green.
Yeah, it was always intended to be the night version. I just was like, let me mess around because whatever. It's a lot easier to do this sort of stuff in 3D. So like to change lighting and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let me give it a go. I'll just chuck out this little cute daytime render. Now, if you want to see Fiona's interpretation of the scene, you should absolutely check out the link to her video in the description below, and subscribe while you're there. She is such a talented artist and a very good friend of mine, and she really deserves just all the support in the world. And finally, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support me, you should leave a comment on the video. Subscribing and liking helps too, but more than anything, I just love hearing what you thought of the video and what you'd like to see from me next. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I post some of my final renders and even other creative projects that I don't end up making videos about. So yeah, see you there. Peace.